Hey everybody, it's Rob here. Welcome to the top 5 winners of Season 5. There's certainly been many surprises and many meta shifts happening in the game. And I want to talk about all of them. Obviously, we have the Sorcerer, but we also have some underrated classes, such as the Necromancer here hitting for 6 billion plus DPS, and many more other builds. And probably my ranking of the most strongest builds will surprise you a little bit. I will make another update to the full tier list at some point, but this is going to give you a good overview of the top builds to play in Season 5. So coming in at number 1, to, I think, no one's surprise, but it was a big surprise in general in the season. Sorcerer actually is looking to be the very most strongest class with its Lightning Spear build. I'm going to have all the planners and also videos linked in the description. And this is basically a sword build revolving around a lightning spear. This one can crush AoE, it's auto-aiming, it crushes bosses. Like this is me here killing Uberseer, carrying 4 people, basically just blasting down a 4-player Uber boss with the Fractured Winterglass here that I got. I was like very fortunate and got this giga drop here from Zero. That's why we're farming this. This build in general is just like super crazy. It auto-aims, it has amazing single target. If you have good gear, it's fucking crazy in terms of cooldown reduction, and it just goes wild. This is me here clearing a T8 in the new endgame system. The new endgame system is super rewarding, so this is definitely worth farming. And you guys can just see here like how these T8 bosses, once you get them like a little close together, and you can just spam your lightning spear. You see like it has no cooldown whatsoever, and you can just like kill them in like 5 seconds. Look, boom, they're already dead basically. And yeah, it's insane. There's also been a full 150 clear solo already from Mekuna. This is like pit 150 done. And it's also amazing if you want to do some speed runs here with the sword, because you see these spears, they just fly to the targets and they completely auto-aim at everything. So you can blast like pit 101 if you like, or any kind of speed content, nightmare dungeons. It's also the best build for the infernal hordes in general. It kills the bosses very fast. It kills the entire room instantly, because you see these spears, they just auto-aim. You don't have to aim anything. You just spam the spear, and that's how it goes. And even the boss kill, as you guys will see here in a second, like I'm just gonna put forward here, and even the boss kill, like once you stagger, and I'm playing Fist of Fate, right? And even this boss kill here, like once you stagger him, like you see him go down, boom, 101 pit boss, like insta dead basically, like one stagger and you stagger him instantly. If you are playing this Fist of Fate here, this is the one I have in game right now. It's completely crazy, and you get a bunch of lucky hits, so you can basically just spam your lightning spear without doing anything. You see here my lightning spear cooldown. It goes like crazy because of all the lucky hits. I never have to cast Frozen Orb, and you'd never spend even any mana because it just automatically procs. Like you don't have to do anything. It's the Fist of Fate that does it. Lucky hit with the amulet, and you're just rocking like this. You see 50 stacks concentration, and this thing, it just continues going. Like even if I stop attacking, it still continues to go. So this is like crazy build, insane DPS, and I think the best build overall of the entire season. Lightning Spear Sorcerer. This is my number 1 most biggest winner of the season. Number 2, it might surprise many of you, is actually the Druid. And man, the Druid has been bullied a lot, but no pun intended, it's certainly eating good this season. Once he transforms, shapeshifts into the bear or into the wolf, it goes crazy. And watch this video, I'm going to link it below, from Ace of Spades here, playing the Storm Slide or Doomstorm Druid. And this is a T8 boss. And look at that damage. Boom, dead. This is the hardest Infernal Hordes in the game, and it's blasting it in a few seconds. Like, this is a crazy build. I think Druid, literally, and I'm guilty of this as well, has been the most underrated, but it is insane. Like how, like, and these ticks here, like these damage ticks here is like 30 million, 20 million, 20 million, and look how many, you can't even see. You can't even see the numbers because it's just so much. So this potentially is very similar to the Sorc level, and I'm expecting this to push in the pit 150s sometime soon as well. And yeah, it goes completely crazy here. Stormslide Druid, in the end game you can play with Starless Sky, Earthbreaker, but even if you don't have any Uber Uniques, this is like probably one of the easiest builds to play without any Uber Uniques, because you can play the new Mjolnir ring, and it is insane. It's basically Landslide working with Cataclysm and the new Unsung Rasp here going completely nuts. And I'll have the video here from Ace. He explains it all. Like, leave a like. It's really insane what it can do. Also, I think in just like T8s here, he shows off his entire setup and gear. He's like one of the main Druid theory crafters. So yeah, it surprised me, man, as much as you have been surprised by this. Druid is my number 2 pick. It was very close between Druid and Rogue, because the Rogue is also fantastic. I almost put Rogue on number 2, but I think with this video that Ace made, like, Druid for me takes the cake for now. But keep in mind, guys, Rogue and Druid I think are very, very close in terms of power level. And the Sorcerer with the Lightning Spear for me is just a little notch ahead. And this is basically Barrage and Dariel. You can also play other builds, but what I've seen the best is the Barrage and Dariel here. And this is a video from Rage Gaming. And look at him killing the bosses here. I'm pretty sure you can do this even faster. But you have this like Umber Crux token that is like pretty busted and some pretty broken mechanics. You might have seen some one-shots because it's like double dipping multipliers and stuff. So it has like some pretty crazy interactions right now. And this is like the T8 boss on Just and Dariel Rogue. And yeah, that's pretty insane. I'm going to link those below as well. We also have a video here from M1PI, basically just the speed clearing here. So you're basically taking the buffed Dariel's Rogue, and you are taking Fist of Fate as well with the high lucky hit chance. I think Fist of Fate in general is one of the strongest items in the game. And you see here, boom, like this is hitting for 1.5 billion ticks here too at the end at the boss. And keep in mind, this is ticking here 1.4 billion. This is ticking twice a second, so that's already 3 billion DPS. Right? And Rogue is very versatile. You have many strong builds. You can play Rapid Fire, you can play this Andariel build, and just many other builds. Like even with Andariel itself, you can play with Flurry, you can play with Puncture. But I think the best is turning out to be Andariels. Unfortunately, is turning out to be Barrage Andariels. Unfortunately, Victimize has been completely like nerfed or like not working properly. It's not even applying your multipliers at all. So unfortunately, Heartseeker Rogue is not really that crazy anymore, but yeah, Andariel Rogue here with Barrage is freaking insane. Melting the bosses and yeah, new Andariel's Visage combined with Fist of Fate. Really strong. And then for the Necromancer and the Barbarian here on the kind of last place in terms of power level, but still very surprising on some things, because I was kind of more thinking that Barb would be more in the middle, but the key passives hurt a lot, and we'll talk about this some more in a second. But let me first show you the class that I actually see, at least in terms of pit pushing, I see Necromancer above Barbarian, and there's been some surprising builds as well. Barbarian, I think, is better in speed farming, but in high pit pushing, Barbarian does not win any rewards right now. So for number 4 is the Necromancer for me in terms of power ranking. And you can see here, there's a video here from King Pig hitting for up to 6-7 billion damage. And again, this is like a couple days into the season, right? So I'll show you here the entire boss fight. Look at this Necro blasting a T8 Infernal boss, hitting for 3-4 billion every time. And he is actually using a new mechanic, which is very surprising, with the Bone Prison that allows him to regain the full essence instantly. And boom, 10 seconds, T8 boss is dead. And this is also the reason why I put it above Barbarian, because yeah, try to do this on a Barbarian. Like any Barbarian build that can kill this boss this fast, I would like to see. Like there's not even any chance, I think. At least from what we've seen so far and what we've tried. We've tried Bash, we've tried Whirlwind. There might be Flay, but I don't think Flay is that strong. Like single target on Barb is a big issue, and on Necro it's very comfortable, and I think this build is gonna push way in the 150s. Now the fact is that Necro is still struggling. You can see it in this clip as well. He only has 500 ether because Necro is not really doing that well in terms of AoE clear. You see, like he has big numbers, but the AoE clear is still lacking. And this is where Barbarian is certainly, right now at least, winning over Necro. You can still play the Blood Surge Necro if you like for more AoE, but then you're kind of struggling again against single target. So yeah, Necro is not the best right now either, because you have to kind of choose, do you want AoE or do you want single target? But the single target is still very, very strong. You see here, you can get up to, I got a link this player here from KingPig, you can get up to rank 37 on your Bone Spirit. And then you're using this Bone Prison mechanic. Basically, every time you recast it, you gain essence, and every time you recast it from rapid ossification, you also gain cooldown reduction for your bone skills, which obviously Bone Spirit is. So yeah, this interaction is pretty crazy and quite surprising. And yeah, big shout out here to KingPig for like figuring out like a new strategy basically to regain your essence by just continuously casting Bone Prison. And this also is the reason, guys, that I put it like slightly above Barbarian, but again, Necro is still struggling with AoE. But Barbarian has been one of the strongest, or probably the strongest class for everything basically except Season 1. And now they have really gutted the key passives. And we are still kind of playing the quote-unquote old meta on Barb. We are still playing Whirlwind for AoE. And Whirlwind can also be used as a boss killer. I can show this to you here, but this only works on like Uber bosses or on Lilith, but this will not work on T8 or 150 pits because the damage is just simply not enough, right? I have a relatively decent optimized setup here. I can even carry 4-player Duriel here on the Whirlwind Barb. Look how fast he dies. But again, the Bone Spirit Necro, like it will just shoot this guy once and he'd be dead, right? And yeah, on the Barb, like it takes a couple hits. And this really goes to show on higher pit clears or higher pit tiers, or also on the T8, where Barb is really struggling killing those T8 bosses now after all the nerfs it has received. And I think it's pretty sad to see like so many nerfs to the classes. I mean, I'm not even talking only Barb, right? I'm talking about like, for example, Ball Lightning back in the days. You know, Ball Lightning, Sorg, and also Hoda Barb to a degree have been like very cool, very strong builds. And their power level is not even much above of what we have right now with the Lightning Spear Sorcerer, or with the Bone Spirit Necro, or with the Endarial Rogue, or with the Stormslide Druid, right? So I don't know like why the Ball Lightning Sorcerer and also the Hoda Barb had to be nerfed that much to basically not be viable, even though we still have these like crazy like S tier builds basically. It just like kills the build variety a little bit, I feel. And we have a big problem on Barb. You have like all these core skills that are supposed to be like mighty attacks, but like all the core skills on Barb are basically just support skills. Like we have Whirlwind, basically just being a support skill to proc Dust Devils. We have Hammer of the Ancients, which has been divided by 10. They try to make up for it a little bit by adding like 10% damage here and there, but it's not really like that big a deal. Same for Upheaval. The new Hellhammer Burn sounds good on paper, but it just doesn't have any DPS. Dust Double Swing is also just a support skill, basically proccing Twisters or Berserking or Vulnerable. And then yeah, if you're comparing Rend with Flay, like you don't even have to like start, because like yeah, Flay is just way better and has way more multipliers to it. So on Barb, Bash Barb still looks decent as well, like for boss killing. But again, for anything like high bosses, it maybe does like 500 million DPS, while most other specs do like about 10 times that. Maybe a bit more. Maybe it can reach 1 billion DPS. But again, other builds have like 5 billion DPS. I think that Sorcerer, also the Endarial Rogue, and the Druid in particular. I think Ace was even saying in his video that it has like 100 billion DPS. And this would literally be stronger by a factor of 10 to 100 times the Barb damage. And I mean, maybe it's a bit over exaggeration right now, but it's at least doing double-digit billion. Because look at this damage. Like again, T8, and we'll see how it's going to do on 150. And the fact that Sorcerer already did 150, again, the Mekuna is blasting like crazy. But, you know, it's just been a couple days, and the Sorg already did 150 solo. And with all the nerfs to especially Barbarian, and also to some degree on Necromancer minions, a lot of classes like will struggle there. I think Bone Spirit will do it on Necro, but then, you know, there's not much else, I think. And yeah, the Barb is certainly going to struggle now to clear 150 even though we had like 3 good builds before, and now, I mean, you're lucky if you can do it with one build, maybe with Flay, maybe with Bash. I don't know, Whirlwind is still good for speed clearing, but I don't think it's going to hit the spot right now. So I did change the tier list a little bit. I'll keep this updated and I'll make a full tier list with all the builds. But right now my power ranking looks like this. Again, Sorcerer number 1, Lightning Spear. Druid number 2, Storm Slide. Rogue number 3, anything in Dariel, but Barrage is the meta. Necromancer, Bone Spirit. You can play for single target and pit push. Blood Surge is pretty good for AoE. And Barbarian, you can play Whirlwind for AoE and farming, and Bash or Flay for push and single target DPS. But again, not as strong as usually, that's for sure. Again, it was pretty close between the last place. But I think Barbarian with Heavy Heart is on the last place. Let me know what you think in the comments of my ranking. And yeah, let me know like what would be your ranking. Like, would you change anything on this ranking, on these classes? And I still think the season is great. I'm having a blast on Sorc. I mean, I'm going to do more Barb stuff as well. But Sorcerer right now is just way too cool to see. And, you know, I would like for some builds like Ball Lightning and Hoda to make a comeback. I think it's like either on Blizzard's side, they nerf a build like into the ground, or, you know, the build's OP. Like, it's hard to hit the middle ground at the moment. And I would like to see, you know, more builds on the middle ground, but like not being divided by 10. Like Ball Lightning and Hoda Barb have been in the past, for example. And I also think that this build on Sorc should not be nerfed, at least not in this season, man. Like, people are finally having a lot of fun on Sorcerer, and it's a cool season to play, and people are enjoying it a lot. And I don't see it being nerfed this season, but we'll see going into Reaper of Souls how, not Reaper of Souls, into the expansion Vessel of Hatred. Reaper of Souls was the 3 expansion. How the balance is going to be, especially with the Spiritborn coming into the mix. But yeah, right now, guys, Sorcerer is flying high and the community loves it. So let's go, log in, play some Diablo, and enjoy some Sorc, my friends. GG, I hope you enjoyed this overview. Again, full tier list coming soon. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.